Hey everyone, it's Adriana and welcome back to another video. This is going to be the reflection lab video for systems programming week 3. In week 3 I had a total of 3 labs, lab 5, 6, and 7, and I'm just going to go over each one and show a little demo of how each of my labs turned out. Let's get started with this video. First is going to be lab 5, which was the binary file input output lab. I ended up getting a 75 on it, and I just had a lot of issues with trying to basically add a binary file to one of my previous labs and trying to get it to actually print the binary information to the console. And that was the whole point of this lab, was to use the previous lab, which was lab 4, the inheritance bank app, to add binary file input output to it and add the functionality of having to write the file and then having to read from the file. But I had a lot of issues. I couldn't really get anything to work, so I ended up just rewriting a whole new class called account, and then I just basically put the 3 little balances: checking, savings, and credit, and then I got it to print to the console that way. But it wasn't exactly what was supposed to happen, which is why I got the justified grade of a 75. And then the next lab 6. Lab 6 took me days to figure out. This lab was the dynamic memory lab, and this lab, they gave us pre-existing code that we had to fix and clean up. They intentionally put memory leaks that we had to identify and fix, and originally started off with about 1,020 memory leaks that were in the file. And then the best way to tackle this lab was to use the rubric, because the rubric really had the answers of what the memory leaks were and what you needed to do to add them. So for example, like, there was different parts. There was the inventory class, there was the item class, and there was scope, main, and store. And for each one, the rubric told you that you needed to add something to it. So for the first one, like destructor, there needed to be a destructor in that memory leak to get it to work. And then inventory print, for that one you actually had to use delete, the delete keyword, since the issue was in the fact that it used the new keyword. Therefore, for every new keyword that you see, you have to delete it. And for the other ones that had print next to it, all you had to do was delete it. And then for the other ones where, like for item class, you had to add a constructor and a destructor, add it. And then scope main, same thing, delete. And then store and constructor and destructor, and then yeah. And then once I figured that out, I was able to clear the rest of the errors, no problem. And then as you can see, memory in use 0, pass. And that was it. And then for lab 7. Lab 7 was some of the new concepts from week 3, learning about doubly linked lists. And I had to go on YouTube to get a much better understanding of it. If you haven't checked out Code Beauty, you should, because she really explains linked list, single linked list, and even double linked list a whole lot better than the lectures. And for this one, also, they gave us pre-existing code, and we could not modify anything in the code besides the destructor. That was the only thing we had to add something to it, and that was basically just adding one of the functions, clear. We just had to add that, and that's it. You don't have to add no new deletes, none of that. And the functions that we had to utilize for this lab, we had to add a clear function, a push front function and an erase function, and then also add a CPP file or just include a main section in the header file and actually implement testing to test the code to make sure that the D-list that you created actually prints out. And I still don't fully understand linked lists, but I think once I start messing around with Unreal Engine, I think I will get a better idea of linked lists and their purpose and how to use them and to understand them a lot better once I do more of hands-on projects like creating my own game. And but yeah, each of the functions: clear, reset the list, basically push front, which I've used that before with using vectors, and that's just the exact opposite of push back, like it said, and just basically adding a new node to the beginning of the list. And then erase, just like as it sounds, erase, and then got 100 on that. And those were lab 8. I will say the one I really struggled with the most would actually be the one that was worth only 4% of my grade, and that was lab 5. Having to deal with the binary input output thing. I struggled with that in PG2, and I knew as soon as I saw that I was going to struggle with it in this class, and I did. But that will be it for this video, and look forward to the final lab reflection video for the final labs, lab 8 and 9, and my final grade once I get that back. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.